so that if you were to visualize it, you could see it, you could hear it, maybe even smell it. The more detail you can put into the mental picture of what you want to create, the more easy it is for them to know what you want. You see what I mean? I told you it took me 9 years to find my first publisher because I was way ahead of my time. But all that time, I kept visualizing my books in the bookstore. I saw them on the shelf. I saw people coming in and picking them up. I heard them talking. You've got to have detail in the mental picture. I filled all of this detail into it. Well, then one day, my daughter went into a bookstore, and she was just looking at the books, and she saw 3 books sitting on the shelf. And she just absentmindedly said, "Oh, those are Mama's books." And then she went on looking at the other books, and then she realized what she had said, because they weren't published yet. And she looked back at that shelf, and there was nothing there. You see how the law works? They were not taking away from anything. There was nothing on the shelf. But now they're in bookstores all over the world. It happened. I had one man said he went into a bookstore after my first book was published, and see, the first ones were the 3 volumes of Nostradamus, so there were 3 books. The first book was published. This man wrote me, he went into the store, and he saw volume 1 and volume 2. We picked them both up and walked up to the cash register. I was going to pay for them, and he said, "I think I'll wait and get volume 2 later." So he took it back. So he only got the 1. When he went back to the store later, decided to get volume 2, they didn't have it. And he did was writing letters, and he wrote me and said, "What happened? Did the government pull it off the shelves or what?" I said, "No, it hasn't been published yet." Now, he was handling something that hadn't even existed yet. What would have happened if he would have taken that home? Would it have disappeared? Somebody else said he might have got home and found out it was a different book altogether. We don't know. But you see, when it's coming into reality, all of these strange and weird things happen. And my daughter was a nurse in intensive care and cardiac units for 20 years. But when she was in nursing school, she just thought, "It's horrible. I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to finish nursing school." And she was very depressed. So I told her, see it as already done. That's the key. See it as done. It's happened. See it as already done. You're doing what a nurse does. You're walking down the corridors in the nurse's uniform. You're taking care of the patients. You're living it. It's done. And so she began to visualize that. And it happened. Because if you can see it in your mind, visualize it, it must happen. That's a law of the universe. You learn to work with these laws of the universe, and everything becomes very easy for you. The law of the universe, if you can see it, it must happen. They have to fulfill your order. So I want you to think about what it is you want, but be specific. See it as already done, already accomplished. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. Some people say, "Well, I got to do this and this and this to make it happen." Then you're limiting them. Saying that's the only way it can happen. See it as already done, already accomplished. They fill in the blanks. We have this happen all the time. They will make it happen in ways that you would never, ever imagine. If you say, "I've got to do this and this and this," you're limiting to them as the only possible way it can happen. You see where I'm getting at? Just say, "This is what I want," and you give an exact picture of what it is, release it to them, then we just sit back and watch the magic. Because it happens, and it happens very fast now, the way time is going. So don't worry about how it's going to happen. It will happen in a way that you would never, ever in a million years figure it's going to happen. And I could go with countless stories of what we're doing with our company, our business, and how they are constantly fulfilling what we want. All we have to say, here's the next project, guys. Do it. And you really